Hello, everybody. This is Kyle Graves again for another weekly IP tidbit. We've been talking about my series, Hardware is Different, Patent Basics for Protecting Actual Things. We've gone through the first 4 of 8 topics. Last week's was my favorite of all the topics, so if you're interested, go back to last week's and check that out. You can find it via kylewgraves.com. You can find it on YouTube under the live section of my channel. You can find it on LinkedIn. And I just realized you can no longer find it on Twitch because Twitch deletes the videos after a certain period of time. But we're live there in Twitch also. So today, let's talk about number 5. Consider something that I call alternate protection vehicles. This is something that I use for clients that are inventing actual things. They're located across the world, but they have interest particularly in protecting their thing in the European market. There are many jurisdictions, particularly across the European market, that provide for something called a utility model registration. Now, a utility model is somewhat like a patent, but it's different in a few ways, and those are differences that we're going to take advantage of. So a utility model registration grants quickly, whereas a patent application goes through a lengthy back and forth approval process with whatever jurisdiction we're talking about, their local patent office. So they grant quickly. They consist of a statutory right to exclude others within the jurisdiction from making the product. Same thing that patents protect against, right? However, being easier to obtain and very often not really being examined leaves them open to attack in a way that patents aren't. Patents are typically presumed to be valid once they've granted, and there's a relatively higher burden on a challenger to get that patent knocked out, to have the government reassess and say that actually that patent shouldn't have granted. Well, this isn't the case for utility model registrations. Utility model registrations are easier to obtain, but also they're easier for a challenger to invalidate. They rapidly register, they're presumed valid until proven invalid by a challenger, but they're easier to prove invalid by a challenger. So think of these as a first early line of defense, while more substantial utility right patents are going through the process. Much like all the IP rights mentioned so far, the process can begin with a provisional utility patent application, followed by a PCT patent application. And then these utility model creatures that we've been talking about, they can, in many instances, claim priority via your PCT application back into that same chain, that same patent family chain. So you can obtain this quickly granting mechanism, use it to attack infringers, use it to seek licensing revenue, and you can do so even before the scope of IP rights is entirely defined by your utility patent applications turning into a patent portfolio. Again, they're an alternative vehicle. They come out quicker. They're easier to kill, but they provide you a first line of defense. They're called utility model registrations, and they're just another tool in our toolbox when we're trying to protect hardware and we're trying to protect it globally. So that is point number 5. We've got 3 more to go. This is an 8-part series. I know they've been trickling out, but if you want to see the whole piece, go to kylewgraves.com/blog. There you can see the whole article. Also in my podcast feed, I have a longer 15-minute version of this divided up talk, where rather than presenting live, it's a recorded piece and it has everything. Okay, as I do when I go live, I'm going to check the comments before we get off here. See if there are any comments at all. We do like audience participation. If you have anything, find me on LinkedIn, find me on Twitch, find me on YouTube, and let's chat about it. All right, I'm going to go off now, and then we'll come back live in a little bit for something else. I want to talk today also about some material I prepared for a roundtable at a conference about a year ago. And when I spoke at the conference, the conversation went in a very different direction than what had been prepared. So I thought it would be a good candidate for a live discussion. And this is just walk through some issues that startups face, not necessarily IP issues, but cross domains, some issues they face, some landmines they may step on, and then ways you might deal with them. Just in my experience, having represented a lot of startups over the years. Okay, KyleWGraves.com. Let's chat more next time.